At least the two components, let me start with that you need to purchase from the bookstore. And the first one is a textbook, obviously. And so the textbook looks like this. And you had an option with the textbook. So I sent that out in an email last week. How many people remember getting that email last week about course supplies? Okay, so you have an option here. Here's the option. You can go with a hard copy textbook plus access to Connect. It's all bundled together. So when you go and buy this and it has my name on it, it'll all be bundled together. But you have to register on the McGraw Hill Connect site. Or you could have gone with a digital version of the book. And that's not this. This is the eScience Lab. So it'll look just like this. In the bookstore, they're packaging everything like this that has a registration code. So there it is. Thank you. Perfect example. All right, so you could just go with an e-version of the book and access to Connect, which means that you're perfectly happy reading online, you're perfectly happy studying online, you're perfectly happy doing it all online. I don't need to have this hard copy. If that's true and you're like a digital native, you are a digital native because you were born when computers were part of the picture from the time you were 2 years old. I didn't get to touch a computer until I was 20 because they didn't exist. So I'm not a digital native. But digital natives sometimes find it okay to do this. They find it okay to have an e-book and online access, and that's fine. If that's true, then you could have saved some money because this was $106. And they ran out of those. Really? Can't they get more? I think you can go to the McGraw Hill site and buy the book online from McGraw Hill, and maybe it's even cheaper. So if you're really looking for cheap, you might want to go to the McGraw Hill site and look online. Otherwise, you buy the hard copy of the book. Now, if I were taking this class, I would want this. You know why? I'm not a digital native, and this is how I learned. I learned from books, and I still need it in my hands and to feel good about learning and understanding what I'm trying to digest. But you have a choice. That's why I gave you the choice. So you need to make that choice for yourself. Okay, but everybody needs this, all right? Everybody needs a hands-on lab kit. And as I was saying before, the importance of this is if you don't have a hands-on component and a lab component to a science class, it doesn't transfer as a lab science class. And most of you signed up for this class because you need to transfer a lab science class. So this is the lab part. So does everybody understand that, why you need these two sets of course materials? They're from two different places. We have to go to two different websites today to get you registered and signed on. So if you have these materials with you today, we're going to try to register before you leave and troubleshoot any problems because you need to use the McGraw Hill site to do your homework that's due on Friday. So we got to troubleshoot those issues and get going right away. Okay, so let me just show you a few things about this eScience Lab kit while I'm at it. So here's eScience Labs. They're a company in Colorado. This summer I had a chance to go out and actually visit the company, and I see how they package all of these. They're producing these for schools all over the country, and they do a really good job of servicing their students. So for instance, last semester I had a student who was leaving for Afghanistan the first day of class. He first of all emailed me several times, and then he called me up and he said, I can't come to the orientation. I'm leaving for Afghanistan. I ship out. And I said, I don't think you can take this class. I said, because you don't even have your lab supplies yet. I said, I don't mind. I would love to help you, and I want to work with you, but if you don't have your lab supplies, you're not going to be able to take the class. Well, he contacted eScience, and they shipped his lab supplies to him overnight so that he had them on the plane. He walked with this box on the plane and went to Afghanistan, and then got there and discovered that some of the things were missing. And then he called up eScience, and they shipped it to him for free. So eScience is a good company. They will work with you, but you have to be able to contact them and check your lab kit when you first get it to make sure that everything that they say is in here. This is my custom kit. I customized the kit, made it cheaper for you, and said, here's all the labs we're going to do. You need to go through the lab supplies when you first get it and make sure that they've got everything in there that that's on the sheet. So do the checklist, go in here, see what's in here. The first thing I want you to notice is this is a safety box. All right, Delta College had issues with this Bio 111 class ever offering it online, and their biggest issues were the safety components. You know, we're liable for you because you're signed up for a Delta class even though you're doing this in your kitchen or in your basement or somewhere where it's safe to do these labs. They're all easy, you know, labs that have a lot of supplies that you could find in your own kitchen, but we still want to always be careful with safety. So take the safety box out, and please watch the safety video. It's online everywhere on my e-learning site, and I keep reminding you, and I'll keep reminding you, and use this stuff in the safety box every time so that Dr. Charisse can keep offering this class at Delta College. Because the first time somebody has any bad accident and then complains to the school, the class might go bye-bye. So here's a little, you know, if you want to keep your kitchen counter clean, just put that out there. I used to use this when I used to dissect my mice.
So this is what McGraw Hill Connect will look like when you first sign on. Once you have registered for the McGraw Hill Connect site, you will be able to see that Principles of Biology, Bio 111, Urbano Online is our course. And there'll be contact information for your instructor here in case you have other McGraw Hill classes. You'll also see that they all follow the same format. Our textbook is here, our ebook, and the way that the course site is organized is basically, for my site, our exams are always at the top. So reminders that we're studying to prepare for these 3 exams and the dates are always visible. Now keep in mind that those exams must be taken in the Delta College Testing Center or by other arrangement with some other testing center or proctoring service so that we can ensure the integrity of those exams. If you scroll down, you'll see, well actually if you look to the right, you'll see that all those exams are currently locked and they will be open and accessible during those open windows. If you scroll down, you'll see that week 1 is the scientific method. And the scientific method, each week we'll have a very similar list of activities, kind of our learning cycle that we've been talking about. So to understand the scientific method and for an introduction to biology, there'll always be a web activity first. And so over here we see web activity, we see SmartBook and LearnSmart. SmartBook is the electronic textbook. LearnSmart are what I like to call digital flashcards. Excuse me, and those digital flashcards will help you learn the terminology. And then science literacy homework, and this is optional. So you have the option of doing Learn Smart digital flashcards or actually writing out definitions and comparing and contrasting terms and then uploading them as a file attachment. So scientific literacy is kind of like a more traditional way to understand the terms and get to know them and type them up, and the Learn Smart SmartBook combination is the more digital, maybe digital native friendly way of doing that. So you have a choice each week of this or this assignment for 5 points, and then everyone needs to do each week this assignment. The active learning assignment is worth 10 points. It's also part of your homework. It's also here on McGraw Hill Connect, and it's a series of videos, short videos for the concepts, interactive matching type activities or other interactive drag and drop activities that really engage you in the learning process. And so I have self-selected those assignments and they're here for you too. Once you click over here on each one of these assignments, you should get more information on due dates. So for instance, if you wanted to just do a quick overview each week to kind of line up your week, you can see when the start date is, when the due date is, how many attempts are limited, and how many points are possible. So each one of those assignments on the right hand side has more information. All you need to do is click on the assignment to get an overview of what's expected of you for each one of those assignments. And then of course to get into the assignments you'll be clicking into each one. The other part of this feature or site that I want to point out is up here, and that is that this was made to be mobile. So you can actually also download an app that allows you to do all of this, to view all of this work on your mobile device. So if you really have a busy schedule and you are very good using your mobile device, this might provide you with some advantages. So here you'll see your instructor's information again, the assignments kind of organized in a slightly different way. There's a way to send me a message directly from here and to make adjustments to your own site. For instance, notifications. You can ask to have notifications sent to your mobile phone or mobile device or computer that will remind you of when items are coming due so that you don't miss due dates. And so I'm thinking that because I have my homework set up so that the absolute final due date is the end of the unit, that might not always work from the McGraw Hill site. But if you look at the soft due dates that are on e-learning, those are the weekly due dates. That's what you really should shoot for. These hard due dates, or the absolute last day I'll take them, will lead to point deductions. So that's what I fed into the Connect site, is the end of the unit when all the homework is absolutely due, and I won't take it after that point. So if you have any questions with that, let me know. This is also where you can order a loose leaf copy of the textbook. So for instance, if you ordered that loose leaf copy, I think it's between $15 and $20 for the textbook versus what you're paying for the hard copy of the book when it's bound. So you might want to explore this site a little bit and become familiar with Connect, because it's a great learning tool, and also look to find those sorts of ways to maybe become more efficient in your learning and save yourself some money in the process. Right? And then I also want to point out that you can merge all of your classes if you have multiple online classes and others are using Connect. You can also do that. It's all merged in the course site, and I believe they said they were going to color code the different courses that you might have. And then finally, one thing that students don't make enough use of, but I think would be really beneficial, is there's a results section down here. So you can always keep track of yourself, your results, and how they compare overall to the rest of the class. So I believe that feature is called Insight, and it's a new feature with Connect, and I think it's going to offer some really valuable insights for students in terms of how well they're doing and in comparison with their fellow students and fellow classmates. So that's a quick overview of Connect. If you have any trouble with the Connect site, I cannot help you, because that's a Connect website at their location, and so you'd have to use the help command. Anywhere on the Connect site, there is a help command that you go to directly from each page, so don't hesitate to contact them for help. I've done that many times myself, and they are very efficient, very fast, and are cutting edge. Thanks.